And I'll edit it.
Hi guys, Henry Horror here. With me always, helping me bring the horror is my co-host, Mr. Jonny Noize.
What's going on, Henry? Hey guys, we have a really cool show for you tonight. Henry's been working hard, lining stuff up, and just really excited about our tonight's guest. I'll let Henry do the introductions.
All right, tonight from the band The DEATHTONES, we have lead singer Mr. Billy Bones. How you doing, Billy?
What's up,
I'm doing
brother?
good. No, not much, man. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
No
Our
problem.
pleasure, sir. Our pleasure.
Our pleasure. Thanks for being on the show. So what's kicking, man?
Uh, Not a whole, actually a whole hell of a lot, honestly. We're getting ready for a couple of shows we're playing out very soon. We got a show next week. We got a show the following month after that. We're trying to keep it building, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working with a couple of new cats that we got for guitar, and yeah, it's going really, really well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good to hear, man. I'm glad that the momentum is picking up and going. That's always a great thing. So, so you are the lead vocalist, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So my first question for you is, you personally, who are your main influences vocally?
Vocally, I'd say my main influence from the genre, because like before the Deftones started, I was not a horror punk at all. I didn't even like I knew of the Misfits. That was it.
Wow.
But that was like literally it. I was just more mainstream punk at the time. But then we decided to start the Deftones, and I listened to that, and the first band I heard on a playlist was Grave Robber, and I absolutely love Wretched's voice. So I was like, that's cool, because when you hear when the term horror punk comes up, everybody thinks Zombie Elvis, because that's what all the
Yeah.
copycats fucking do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like I wanted to I wanted to be a little different. I didn't want to be a zombie Elvis. I wanted to be a zombie Frank Sinatra. I wanted to do more of a crooner than a full on thick, you know? Um, yeah, as far as that, yeah, like, and other inspirations, obviously, you got Elvis, of course, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., any of the old crooners. I love that stuff.
Oh wow.
So,
Okay.
so I wanted to throw that kind of stuff in there because you have all this like heavy metal goth kind of, a lot of keys, a lot of like ripping guitar leads, all that stuff, but I find a lot of metal is very screamy now, and
Yeah.
I cannot physically scream, and also I want to understand what's being said to me in a song. I hate having to go and look up lyrics because I don't know what this guy said. So keep it
Right.
low,
Right.
project, and just yeah. But those are my main influences.
Oh, so you
Awesome.
kind of going old school on your you're drawing from all these cats from way back, that have influenced your vocal, which is kind of cool. Just out there growling and screaming, and you know, which I think is kind of awesome. Being old school myself, I think that's a good place to draw from. You know what I mean? Then make it your own after that. So
Hmm.
that's definitely cool, man.
Yeah, all those cats that you mentioned, the real old school golden age vocalists, you know, that's a really really interesting recipe to throw in there because I notice with your vocals they're a bit more laid back. They're not screamy like like you say, other bands do. So I find your vocal approach very laid back, very rich. I was like, wow, this dude can, this cat can actually sing.
Thank you.
So that's awesome. That's
Yeah, another
awesome.
thing on that was like, which I forgot to mention, is like back in high school, I was a stereotypical theater kid. So I also love musical theater. So
Mm,
like Phantom of the Opera, any of that kind of stuff, those guys project and they tell a story. So it's
Right.
like
Right.
there's a lot of that in there as well, with that enunciation, making sure everything's heard, you know. Yeah, that's also a big draw for me.
Well, it's and it's also taken uh, uh, your music and your craft. You're taking it seriously. You have a vision of what you're doing. And you're not just throwing some garbage out there, so to speak. I'm not downplaying any of the band, but I'm just saying, in general, sounds like you have a thought process and you follow and the way you want to do things, and which I think is kind of cool. And like I said, I definitely dig some of your songs for sure, and I think that you have a really good. Me being a guitarist, especially, you have some really good guitar stuff going on too, man. So I'm like, wow, this is pretty kick ass, man. So it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, thank you.
So my next question for you is, how did your band, the Deftones, come together? How did y'all hook up and get together?
All right, so my bass player Mikey Murder and I have been best friends for like 20 years. And we always had something going on. We were always a duo because we couldn't find a drummer in our area. We lived like out in the woods at the time. So for probably about 10 years, we had been doing duo stuff, going out, playing bars, doing covers, writing some songs in the meantime. And then one day we put up an ad on Craigslist for a drummer, just, out of sight, out of mind ad. And Mike Grimm, our current drummer, he answered it, and he just rolled up, and we were playing, and it just all clicked. And so then the three of us, no, four, it was Dave at the time was there too. We did, we called ourselves Radio Riot. It was like mainstream punk, like think Bad Religion mixed with like a little Pennywise, like that kind of sound,
Yeah.
A lot of Social Distortion in there too. But yeah, then we were playing that for a while, and we were getting a little bigger, but we were all talking to each other one day in like the winter of 2021, and we had said, like, we're doing well, but we're never gonna, there's no growth potential here because the entire field is inundated with these bands. Everybody has a mainstream punk band, and Mike Grimm, the drummer, is a horror fanatic. His entire house is painted black.
Holy shit!
He has a Baphomet skull above his bed. He has an entire horror room downstairs with like first edition collectibles, a bunch of shit. I think that's on I think our YouTube channel. We have that. But he said, "Well, how about horror punk?" And we were like, "Well, I'll give it a shot." So I went home and I wrote our first song for that band, All Hallows Eve. And I brought it back, and I was like, all right, let's give this a shot. We gave it a shot. It worked great. And we were like, okay, we're going to do horror punk because, it's a smaller pond. You can be a bigger fish.
Correct. Yeah.
We said, all right, cool. We'll do that. And then we were just throwing around names like, and then I said, well, everybody, I said like, well, everybody knows the name Deftones, but if you just make it the Deathtones, it's like the name carries a little bit on those coattails just by like, oh, Deftones? No, Deathtones. It's actually part of our marketing. It's like, if you want to find us, go on Google and type in the Deftones. And then when it says, did you mean Deftones? Click no, I meant the Deftones, and you'll see everything. It's like, but yeah, we came up with that, and that was that. In our first year, we got signed to We Are Horror Records out of the UK.
Cool. Yeah.
Cut an album with them. Cool guy. But yeah, that's how we came together, really.
Awesome.
Holy crap. So you come, someone in the UK picked you all up, and that's how you got your first album out.
Yeah.
So wow, that is cool as hell, man.
So you guys have released a lot of material, because I was looking at y'all's discography. That's why I keep looking down here at my little notepad and took notes. But is there what are some of your favorites about the horror genre? Like, what do you have, like a favorite, style of horror? Like, there's like the evil horror, there's like the demonic horror, there's the slasher horror. Do you have any favorites among the horror genre?
Comedy horror. I love comedy horror. I love horror that doesn't take itself too seriously. Like, give me Evil Dead 2. Give me Army of Darkness, Cabin in the Woods, any of those kind of things where it's a little tongue in cheek. I don't like it to go as far as like Scream, but keep the horror pure, but make it funny too. That's the kind of stuff I like more than anything else. I mean, my personal favorite things, though, I mean, like, I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan. Like, anything Bruce has done all the way down to friggin' Moonwarp, I've watched it multiple times. I love Bruce. So, like, that kind of, like, slapsticky, stoogey kind of, but keeping it horror, too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I definitely can dig that for sure. It adds a little campy, Let's hide behind the chainsaws, and there's a whole room of, it's like, this is a good place to go before you get hacked up. So,
yep.
So yeah. That's cool. So, being out in PA, when you guys play your live shows, you traveling like down to Jersey or New York, or are there plenty of places out where you guys are at to perform?
Scranton is coming back. It went down for a long time.
Yeah.
As far as live venues, they're coming back. So really, we're just starting off on our live leg of doing things. We had a 2-phase plan. Phase 1 was pretty much because you only ever get so many people at a show. The bar can either hold as many as it can, or X amount of people are going to come out, and that's going to be it.
Right.
But everybody's on the internet. Everybody's on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Everybody has a streaming service. So we were like, okay, let's write music. Let's write, record, let's hammer this shit out. I mean, I think we released 63 songs in 4 years. It's like, wow. we just hit it hard, and that was phase 1. And then it was like, okay, we have the online following. Now we have people who know what we sound like who are going to want to come out and see us live. Because there's nothing worse than playing to an empty house.
Yeah, been there, done that. Yeah, it sucks.
So
it sucks.
Now it's pretty much like anybody who wants us. We have a 2-hour drive radius from Scranton. We'll go anywhere for 2 hours away. As of right now, obviously, money talks. But as far as like what we're willing to do for, I don't care how much the pay is. It's a 2-hour drive right now.
Yeah, so I mean, back when I was playing, obviously there was no internet, nothing like that, and so you had to. The only way to get things out was playing over and over and over to nobody. Show place in Dover, nobody other than the waitress on the bar. So I mean, we played a lot. We did CBs and Maxes in the Dirt Club in Bloomfield. The Dirt Club had a pretty good following, so people would show up, not necessarily just for us, but there would be a fair amount of people there. So that for us was kind of like, okay. So, we didn't have all this, so it was kind of boots on the ground type thing where you had no choice but to, go to these open mic nights or go out to New York and get on stage at CB's and, whatever you can do. But back then, I think back then it was easier to get into these clubs where now I noticed here where I am anyway, things are a little they make it more than it's supposed to be, if that makes any kind of sense. I got a local club and then I got to sign a contract. I'm responsible for paying like the door guy, and all this. I'm like, this is a gig, man. I understand you got to pay the sound guy. If I don't bring my own sound guy, okay, I get that. I got to pay the sound guy, security, the door guy. So whatever comes in this club goes back to the club, and I got I got $100 in my pocket, even though we might have had, 400 or 500 people in there. But after you give them all their money, I'm like, what happened? So back when we were just doing our thing, I think it was a little more. You didn't expect too much from it, but it was easier to get into places where now they're like, well, we got to see your stuff, whatever. And I'm like, dude, come on, But now with social media, like what you guys did, I think was smart. You built up your base, you recorded your stuff, you got a following, and now you're gonna hit the streets. So it's not just, hey, we're going to jump in the van and and we're just going to go wherever and whatever's going to happen. A lot of people do that, and they come back, and they get their asses kicked because there was no planning, no marketing, no whatever. So hopefully when you guys, it sounds like you got a good plan, and you got a hell of a following. Besides your music is great, but you got a heck of a following already. So I think when you get out there and do more live stuff, it should be pretty good for you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're hoping. And back to what you were saying about the having to pay this guy, that guy, Rob and Peter to pay Paul to play, fund these shows. That's why another thing that we did during this phase 1 was we stocked up on all of the merchandise that we want, and it's like. Everything from t-shirts to stress balls to flasks to anything you could possibly think of, we have it, because it's like, if you're going to come out to a show, that's how you're going to make your money anymore. You can't rely on the door to pay your bills, so. No.
And I would, after a while, I would have a reserve. Okay, while my guys come out, want us to play, this is the minimum we need to show up, and then anything above and beyond that, that's fine. We'll work out that deal, but this is the minimum we need to come out and play. You got time, your money, your gas, your this, your food, a van or a truck, possibly a hotel room. I'm in Alabama now, and I do shows down in Macon, Georgia. It's expensive putting people up in hotels, and then the whole bit is a few grand just to do a show. And you're lucky if you get a couple bucks back to even break even on a deal. So, but I think you guys have a really, unique style. I think you got to, definitely have a good shot. And once you get kind of rolling with your shows, I would get a reserve going. If you can prove to these people, hey, we're bringing people to your club, we'll come back, but we want X number of dollars to play. You know what I mean? If not, move on to the next guy. That's all, But I think you have some really good potential for what you guys are doing. I wish I was 30 years younger, man. I'd be more pumped about it. I was like, let me get up out of my chair. But that's all good, man. But anyway, I'll kick it back to Henry. Got another question for you.
I know what got me hooked on you guys is I started following you guys on Facebook, and I saw a bit on. I saw that y'all also had y'all's own YouTube channel too. So what caught my attention right away was the Universal Monsters release, and y'all really got all the classics on there. I mean, y'all got the Wolf Man, the Invisible Man, the Mummy, Frankenstein, Dracula. Let's talk a little bit about that release. How did that release come about?
Oh boy, let's see. I want to say a lot of the driving force behind a lot of our releases, our bigger releases, was Mike Grimm, and he pretty much said, like, I want to do a Universal Monsters one. I want to do, and like you just named, I want to do the Wolfman, I want to do Dracula, I want to do this, blah, 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 blah. And that's usually how our band works, is he'll have an idea, he'll kick it to me, and I'll just write. I look at it like building a house. I build the framework. So like I'll build the arrangement, the verse, the chorus, I'll write all the words. I'll usually track rhythm guitar myself. Like I'll write the rhythm, I'll track the rhythm, then I'll sing over it, and I'll send it out to Big Mike. We don't actually do any recording in a studio. All of our stuff is done in our own houses remotely. Okay. So I'll kick it over to him. He'll lay down the drums for it, send me back a text message that's like, hey, yo, we should extend this here, or do a stop here and then kick back in after a 4 count. Okay, I go in, I edit, I do what I have to do on the computer. Okay, that's there now. We have the drums. Kicks it back onto our file share. Bassist comes in, does his thing. So it's like building a house. I do the foundation, drummer comes in, slaps the walls on. Bassist comes in, puts the windows in. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, he's like, oh, I just want to do a Universal Monsters. I said, okay, give me a couple of months.
Right.
I just like
That's
Right.
awesome.
the way I wanted to write it though was I wanted every song to have the feel of the movie. So like Dracula,
okay.
I wanted that Viennese waltz.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
feel like you're in a castle. With,
Henry mentioned that. Yeah.
with Frankenstein, that bum, da, 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 it's a march. You
Yes,
feel like
yeah,
him
yeah.
coming in, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all the songs, Creature of the Black Lagoon is surfy. Like everything has its own feel to it, which
Yeah.
really I think makes that album stand out a lot in relation to our other albums.
That's
Right,
awesome.
So the vibe of the song is a direct connection to whatever kind of monster you're writing about or whatever. I think that's pretty cool. We had talked to somebody about AI. It sounds like you're writing all your stuff, and which is good. Um, what are your thoughts on that? Just as an artist, because so many people now, and the guy we spoke to, he went off the gravy train. He went off the rails when he was like, ah! But just in general, there's so many people that can push a button, that can synthesize their voice, that there's you could submit a lyric, pay money, or a poem, or a note from whoever, and AI will make a song out of that thing. You pay your little couple bucks, and there's your song. You're done. And we had discussed when Henry and I was talking about this. We were like, okay, that's fine. Let me see you play it live now. You know what I mean? Without all, let me see you on stage. Well, what are your thoughts on all of that mess? Because I mean, personally speaking, I think it's like fake. It's fake music. It's made up. It takes away some of the creativity. Now, I'm not saying adding an effect on somebody's voice or whatever. Yeah, you do that. I get that. Everybody did. But this is writing a whole thing.
Yeah.
You can publish a book without doing anything.
Anything.
Yeah. Any schmuck can say, hey, look what I did. Well, yeah, you push return on a keyboard. There's nothing to it.
Okay. A deep question. I value this question too. All right. So, as far as AI, I think AI is a very valuable tool. I don't think that it is anything more than a tool. I think regulation needs to be stricter on AI to cut down on that kind of shit.
Mhm.
I think that places that, producers, even going all the way up to the Grammys, anything, I think that they have to have safeguards in place to vet songs.
Right.
And if there's AI in it, get rid of it. But at the same time, those AI sensors need to be better. Case in point, our album, The American Invasion, when it was released, it was fine. Then the publisher got this new AI thing, and it scanned our stuff. And because we used news clips for He Stalks the Night to intro the song, they said, oh, that's AI, and they pulled the whole album.
Oh, okay.
And then we just got that album put back up like a month ago, maybe less than a month ago, after it had been down for 6 months.
Wow.
But I think that as far as making an entire song on AI, if you want to do it for you and your friends, it's absolutely cute. Go ahead, do it. Don't release it.
Right. Right.
As far as it being a tool, AI has definitely helped me a couple of times when I've needed to come up with an idea for something. I'll be like, what mood should I do here? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like little kind of things like that, just to spark your memory,
Sure.
But as far as it doing the work, no way.
Yeah.
But I just think that it needs more regulation on it. I feel bad for artists that people are doing the AI art, but at the same time, I can also sympathize as a band that does sometimes use AI art in our stuff. Mm-hmm. Because the artists are saying, well, you can hire an actual artist to do this. And the band's saying, I don't make anything. I can't afford to do this, let alone, you know what I mean?
Right, right.
Of course, I'm going to use all of the avenues that I can to further my craft and my product.
Sure.
But at the same time, you have to have a sense of morality about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. There's certain things that AI can tweak and handle and do. And we had an artist, Anthony Noble from Canada, that I've been friends with for quite a while, and he has done a lot of album covers, And then once the AI started kicking up, his everything kind of went down, it slowed way down. And he's a hell of an artist. So now he's moving on to different stuff, skateboards and other stuff. But he's a painter. This guy is really incredible. But you're right, But he also did a lot of stuff for free for these guys,
Mm-hmm.
He did stuff for me. I got stuff on my wall from when Morning Noise released the full album a few years ago, and so it's but he said it's killing me. It's because it's, and I think in a way you're right. It is good to be able to use it when you're trying to figure out stuff, and if it's cost effective, or it could even be free, just to get your stuff together. But I think from an artist perspective, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Where now he's like, well, I might go into tattooing now, or something that I can monetize and still do my artwork, and stuff like that. But it's there, like you said, there has to be a balance with this stuff. If it goes way overboard, then you go to a concert, you put a quarter in the thing, you sit back in your chair, and here he goes. It's totally, it's like It's a Small World at Disneyland. That's but we'll see where it goes. It's kind of getting,
It's rocky waters right now.
It's very rocky waters. There's a lot of back and forth on this thing. But like I said, I just want to get kind of your touch on that, and it's a very it's complicated. Let's put it that way. It's a very complicated subject to, there's so much going on with it, and they want to bring this AI thing into the forefront of a lot of stuff. So that's what's kind of, for me, it's a little scary. Not just music, but this AI thing is about to explode.
Well, speaking of Anthony, crazy that you said that. I actually I follow him on Facebook, so I got in touch with him not too long ago.
Wow.
Asked him if he wanted to do an album cover for us, or like a shirt design, because what I like to do is, although we do utilize AI art for our big albums, I always try to get an artist. For our singles, we'll throw out whatever, just because you need art. But
sure,
for big albums, Universal Monsters, perfect example. You pay to get that done because you want it done right.
Correct. Yeah. And you want someone who has the vision.
Yeah.
Anthony has that. He's got that vision, and it's right in line for what you guys are doing, for sure. I mean, he's, that's all right up in here in his head. He does some stuff like, where'd you come up with this stuff? And that's just how he thinks this, he's a super cool guy. I mean, so, but yeah, that is definitely pretty cool, man. You got another question there, Henry? You want to throw on the table here?
I was gonna throw in my bit real quick. First of all, Anthony's got this design that is on his I think it's on his Instagram, and I want to when I can afford to, I want to send him. I might have to take my neck off. I want to send pick out the design and send it to the person that does the. It's his artwork, but I think his business partner does the rap part of it for the guitar, and I want to get one of those designs thrown on my bass. The second thing, I think it'd be pretty badass.
Yeah, it's badass shit. It really is. Yeah.
Second thing I wanted to say about the AI thing, if it's used as a tool, okay, but what my problem with it is, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, when I first heard that they were doing the AI thing, what made me upset was I'm a huge Nirvana fan. They went and said, excuse me, they said, we have a new Nirvana song. This is the new Nirvana song. It's AI. They put the song out, and I gave it a chance. I wanted to see what they were going to do with it, just out of curiosity. For one, didn't sound anything like Nirvana, and two, I didn't like the way it was presented as here's the new Nirvana. You know, Nirvana was great. They had their time. You're never gonna you're never gonna replicate that. You know what I mean? You try as they may, but it's never gonna be as great as the original. And
That's the kind of stuff we got to worry about with everything. We got to worry about that with Hollywood. I mean,
oh
like
yeah,
they did that. They did that with Indiana Jones in the last Indiana Jones. They made him younger. Like they can take people who died and just scan their face from previous things, and you could bring back Judy Garland if you wanted to.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
But like you said though, Billy, there's got to be some kind of balance. There's got to be some kind of regulation to it. Otherwise, people are gonna start robbing banks and shit, and they're gonna look like me or something. They're gonna have a face like that. And I don't know, man. But anyways, that's just my take on it. Uh,
it's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
yeah. So, do you have any? Uh, do you have any favorite songs that y'all do? Like, what are some of your? What are some of your?
My absolute favorite song that we've ever done is "From Dusk Till Dawn." That's on our YouTube as well as on the American Invasion Redux that just came out. That's my absolute favorite because I've always been like a Maiden fan, and I
Yeah.
always
Oh, wow,
like
okay.
how Maiden has harmonizing guitar solos, and I'm just a guitar solo guy. Like just to begin with, I can't play like worth it. Like, I mean, I can play, but I can't play like I can't rip. But like I always like the idea of having two lead guitars, and I had them for that, and I was like, okay, you're doing from this part to this part, and then you come in from this part to this part, and we had Killer Pat at the time was our guitar player, and Dorian Mordrake, who just passed away, but he was probably the best guitarist I ever met. He had a PhD in guitar. He was a college professor for guitar. He was playing
Wow.
with like Michelangelo, Badio, all those guys. They were all doing stuff. But the way that the dichotomy between those two solos, you have Pat who did very like sort of choppy punk kind of solos, and then you had Dorian who was a neoclassical guitar player.
Mhm.
So he's doing crazy things with it, and it's just when I write these longer songs, I always like to, besides telling a story, I like it to be like almost orchestral. I want it to be like you're watching a movie of the movie, but it's the song. If that means
Oh yeah,
that,
yeah,
you get what I mean.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there's that one. That's a big one of mine. I like Saucy Jack. That was an earlier song of ours, all about Jack the Ripper. You had brought up Leprechaun, Henry. I loved doing Leprechaun. That was so much fun doing that song. That's another one with Dorian doing guitar. I just told him, I said, give me Celtic metal. Blows it out of the water, one take, no worries.
Wow.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. That was like one of the first things I told John. I said, dude, these guys sing about everything. They sing about like everybody from the Night Stalker to the Leprechaun, man. I was like, they gave mad props to the Leprechaun. I was blown away. I was blown away by that.
That's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, that's pretty cool. So, Billy, I understand that you are a zombie type guy.
I am indeed. I am indeed. Yes, that is my favorite of the horror genre. Is if there's a zombie film, I'll typically watch it, or everybody has their favorites. But yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is my favorite.
So, what is your stance and take on Night of the Living Dead, the original Night of the Living Dead?
Okay, get ready for this because I'm a zombie guy, but I watched Night of the Living Dead in full for the first time this morning.
Wow.
And I took notes
Oh
Oh,
wow!
because typically if I'm into more of the newer kind of zombie stuff, obviously I've watched Day, Dawn, Land, that kind of stuff. But I have always been like, my all-time favorite zombie movie of all time is the '04 Snyder remake of Dawn. Love it.
Oh, wow.
It was the first zombie movie I ever watched as a kid. Scared the shit out of me when I was a kid, and I just grew to love it as an adult. So I never really, and again, prior to the Deathtones, I wasn't really that much into the horror stuff. This really grew very recently. I've always been a fantasy nerd. So like Lord of the Rings, like that kind of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I love like anything by like Tolkien. I like Dune. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff, like these long sprawling adventures. But yeah, just saw Night of the Living Dead. So let's talk
Let's
about
go.
it.
All right, man. Hit us with what you got, man.
All right. It being the first time, I did notice, like, I loved all the camera angles. Like, they did what I like them to do in a horror movie, and that is inspire dread.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be worried something's going to jump out at me, but it never does. Like, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
At being a zombie guy, like with, you know, like video games, other kinds of media, I did like the lack of established zombie lore that got established as the film went on through the TV. Like, I really enjoyed that. Because, I mean, you know, Romero, it's like the first one. So you didn't have that backlog of zombie movies to have watched to say like, oh, you shoot him in the head. Everybody knows that. It was, for these audiences, it was a brand new thing.
Right.
So, and it took how many, you know, it like almost a decade before you start getting more of that. I like that people acted like people would in an apocalyptic situation that they know nothing about. Like in the movie. Love it. A fun little thing for me was I really enjoyed how the ghouls have table manners and chew with their mouths closed. They're polite. I like it.
They're polite.
I think these new zombies have to go back and watch this to, you know, come on now.
Learn some manners, man. Learn some manners.
Barbara is useless. That was on there. I liked that's sort of coming to the end. Besides that, I really enjoyed the unceremonious ending of the whole thing, which I feel how more movies should be.
Mm-hmm.
That it's just lights out. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But one of my favorite ones was the little girl zombie, because I feel like if you had that in the late 60s with her doing that, like, that'd freak people out, man. Like, just watching this, I'm trying to watch this from the headspace of someone who has never watched a zombie movie, who knows nothing about it. I'm back there. You know what I mean? I'm back then. This is what I'm seeing for the first time. So those were my notes on it.
Right on, right on. Well, I know some facts about that, and actually, I wanted to show these real quick. The light will pick them up. These are some Night of the Living Dead comic books I picked up while I was in Texarkana last year. And these are issues 3 and 4. And what they are is, since the Night of the Living Dead was a global thing that was going on, these are different stories from that same town, from that time, back in the 60s as they were going on. So I'd like to track down more of these. And there's a couple of things, a couple of facts. I'm going to get into the factual part of it. The actor that played Johnny in the beginning, he was an actor and he was an investor, and he got the sound or the audio for the movie put in. They didn't have any money, so he knew somebody that did audio, and they had a chess game, and if the actor that played Johnny won, the guy would do the audio in the movie for free. So obviously the guy knows how to play chess real good. the one of the guys that was in the background in the newsroom scene when they're watching everything unfolding on the TV. Um, he's in the background for a second. He was an investor also, and he had access to packing houses, meat packing houses. So all the entrails that you see in them pulling and eating on, well, they're like the cow livers are real, you know, and this and that's real. When the zombie that's playing around with the intestines, those are real intestines, and it's that guy. He plays two different parts in the movie, just like the uh, the guy, the actor that played Mr. Cooper, and the actress that played Miss Cooper. They did the makeup on that movie, and the actress that plays Miss Cooper comes out twice. She plays Miss Cooper, and she's also the zombie that comes up on the tree and pulls that bug off the tree and eats the bug.
Oh,
That's her too.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
There's a lot of people that wore
Wore two hats.
yeah, they wore two or three hats doing that movie, and it was uh it was quite an adventure. I mean, they basically got, I don't know how many. I think it was maybe 10 people all together, and they all kicked in $600, and they were able to rent the farmhouse and get the camera equipment and everything, and they'd go out there on the weekends and shoot, and they would sleep in the farmhouse, and they'd wash up in the stream near the house. And there's also what they did in the 30th anniversary, which I need to get because I have the silver anniversary here on DVD. But the 30th anniversary, they got with Gorge A, Romero, John Russo, basically people that were involved with the original, and they reshot some scenes that I guess they didn't have time to film back then, and it starts off as a totally different movie. It doesn't start off with the car driving to the cemetery. It starts with the graveyard zombie, the very first one that they come across that Johnny fights and everything. I don't want to give too much away, but it starts off with him being picked up, and his background was that he was a prisoner that got executed that morning for murdering a little girl. And they go and they pick him up, and they take him to the cemetery, and they're about to bury him, but they want to look at him one last time. The family of the little girl wants to look at him one last time, and sure enough, they open it, and what happens? His eyes move, and they actually got the original actor that played that zombie, to come back and do the makeup and everything, and play his part again.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. There's a lot of things that went on in there, but I like what you say about the ending as well. Like, it used to be actually I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a decree around the time that King Kong, the original King Kong, came out, that all monsters had to be destroyed at the end of a movie. I guess to give a more positive outlook, or something like that. And with Night of the Living Dead, you don't have that type of ending. You know that they can take them down by either shooting them in the head or hitting them in the head real hard, but you take out the brain, you take out the body. And another another twist that they thought, well, these zombies just don't get up from the dead and kill you; they eat you too. That I think was something that was pretty shocking from back then.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure American audiences were just like, because they that scene when they're pulling the bodies out of out of that truck and they're eating them. That that's some pretty horrific stuff, and I think it was pretty graphic for the time.
That's what I was thinking when I saw that scene. I said, "Wow, they really like, yeah." Like I once again trying to watch it as a person, you know, in the '60s. Like I said, like, ooh boy, like yeah. I mean, if Hitchcock with the shower scene caused an outrage, I
Right.
could only
Right.
imagine what this did to people who saw it in theaters.
And you know, and I think with the old school stuff like that, as opposed to stuff now, is you really had to, you know, like I said, you got the intestines, and you put that stuff in your mouth. It wasn't some kind of fake prop thing, uh, uh, you really had to do it, so to speak. It was the real deal. So it just, I think it just adds to that. There wasn't all like the green screen and all this. We're going to add this in later. Just pretend you're eating something, and it'll be there later on. There was no, pick up this cow intestines and shove it in your mouth for this scene. It's like, okay, here we go. I'm out. So I wonder how many people are like, oh, I don't know about this, man. But like I said, back in the day, it was real what you had to do. If someone dove out a window, they had to dive out a real window. It wasn't a green screen and land on a pad, whatever it was, however they did it, but you had to really do it. So I think that for me, when you're looking about the old school stuff like that, the difference between real acting, acting more in the moment, as opposed to in front of a blue screen or however, little cardboard cutouts. So you're running from a cardboard cutout, and they throw in the monster later or something like that. And then also the amount of people it takes or took back then to do all this stuff, not just the cast, the crew, the this, that. I'm sure it was a lot more with not having the technology. Okay, you have today. You need more people. Need more gaffs. You need more cameras. You need more guys. Where now you can set it all up, and I'm sure it's way different. But that's what I appreciate about the older stuff. And then you have your acting. I think is more genuine because of that. In my opinion, anyway. But yeah, I think it's the old movies. The older movies for me have a lot more. I don't know, genuine feel to it, because the shit was really, even though it was a movie, they were really doing this stuff, to get the shot, So
yeah. Another interesting fact, talking about the realism, the two zombies that get on fire, that get caught fire when they're throwing the Molotov cocktails out those weren't stuntmen. They they just said, well, if we get too hot, we'll just roll around on the ground. But they went through great lengths to make that movie, and they didn't know if the movie was ever gonna come out. But that movie was actually, I believe, when it was being filmed, it was called Night of the Flesh Eaters. And there was, when they took it to the distribution company, there was already another movie called that. So the distribution company changed it to Night of the Living Dead. When they did, it took the copyright off. So Night of the Living Dead is basically
public domain.
Public domain. Yeah, that's
wow.
I think that's why you see that movie in so many other movies. Like they show it in Halloween 2. They show it in Sid and Nancy. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of other movies that they show it in that's escaping me right now. But I remember seeing that. And the music too. That dun 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 dun, dun that it comes out also, that music. I'm wondering if it's public domain too, because I remember hearing that music and seeing it in another movie that had come out, I think maybe a couple of years before, called The Hideous Sun Demon. It's a movie about this dude that something happens to him, he's in a radioactive accident, and when he sees sunlight, he has this reaction and he turns into this kind of lizard looking thing. But when he's out there running after people and things like that, it's the same music from Night of the Living Dead, but it came out before Night of the Living Dead. So I don't know. Maybe that's something that I should look into and research.
Yeah. What was that? What was that parody a few years back? Was it Shaun of the Dead? I think it was.
Shaun of the Dead. Yep.
That was hilarious.
That was good.
That was, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that was some funny shit. You know? So the guy's posed with a zombie. He's trying to eat him. Hang on a second, click. And I was like, come on, dudes. That was definitely some slapstick take on the original. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, man. Like I said, it's a different world. There's a lot more. The technology is good, and there's a lot more graphics to it, and this, that, and the other. But like I said, back then you had to, it was you, and you just had to act. You could put a guy in a room, and just and say action. And there's nothing there, but they have to just act. So I think that's the big take from me from the old school stuff. As opposed to what's going on now. But yeah. So I haven't seen the movie in a while. So my recollection is kind of vague. I know Henry's like an aficionado on this stuff. So he needs help.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You need like a gore support group. You could say.
I come home from work some days, put on my little straight jacket, throw it on Tubi, and
there you go.
Whatever, and just let it go.
Sit around in a circle, listen. I'm a horror junkie. Wow.
But well, I guess it's around time for us to land the plane because we're coming up on the time now. But Billy, if people want to know more about you and the Deathtones, where can they find out more about the band?
All right, so check us out on social media. We're mainly on Facebook right now.
Okay.
We have an X, Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it. We have that. We have Insta. We have a TikTok. But I'm typically only on Facebook when I do anything for the band. So if you want like the latest news for the band, go on our Facebook. Join us up there. You can DM us whenever you want on any of those. We have a QR, which leads to our link tree, which I will hold up to my camera for your viewers to scan if they want.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Awesome.
So that will bring you to any of our stuff. That's our Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, Pandora, anywhere where we have an account. That link tree will take you there. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's all the places that we are. Pretty much everywhere. If you just go on Google and look us up, like I said, and click, no, I didn't mean Deftones, I meant the Deathtones, then
and it'll pop up. Yeah, definitely. Well, I know I've got something coming from you guys that I ordered, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'd love to do this again, man. We got to have you back on soon, man.
Yeah, actually, give me a moment because I'm about to pack it. I'll show you what I'm sending you.
Oh! So you get
nice.
You get a live preview of what you just ordered.
Awesome! That's pretty cool, man.
All right. So you had ordered Universal Monsters CD.
Yeah.
I am sending along also our EP, Hail to the King, which is all about the works of Stephen King, every single song.
Oh, wow.
From It to Pet Sematary, Cujo, what else? Let's see. The Shining, Misery. You got a bunch of songs in there from that. And I'm also sending you a signed 2-pack of Terror. This includes all of American Monster and Boomsticks and Bloodshed. They are numbered, so
Oh,
you get
thank you
those two.
so
So I'm going to be
much.
sending out these 3 probably tomorrow.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, man.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me on, man.
No problem. No problem.
It's been our pleasure, man. And this video will be on Rumble for sure. It'll also be on Facebook. I'll link up with you on Facebook to make sure it pops up on your account. And then what I'll do is at the end of the video, I'll have a space where it'll say, for information or, to contact these guys, go on Facebook and give them your page information and stuff like that. So, but man, I think you got some really good stuff going on, man. I'm digging it. I'm definitely digging it. From a old school hard punk guy like myself, I definitely appreciate you guys keeping it going and taking a different look at it too. You have a different outlook with a view of what you want to do. I think it's awesome. So
thank you.
Yeah. Plus the music is cool. On top of all that, let's say the music is fucking kick ass.
The business model is good.
The business model is fucking good. Yeah, let's hear more of this. The fucking business is fucking tastic. The music is fucking kick ass, guys. Our listeners are these guys kick ass. I'm telling you, from a guitar player's perspective, and from what I've done in the past, is that these guys are kicking ass. So you pull up their stuff, order some of their music, show them some props for sure. I know Henry already has done so, and I certainly plan on doing so myself. And I think that you guys have a pretty bright future ahead of you with this whole thing. So you got one hell of a ride coming your way. In my opinion, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep fighting the fight, and you guys will come out on top. There's so many people that supposedly have made it, or hey, we're this, and they suck. They're like that. So you guys are good. You guys are really good. I have to give you props on that for sure. So
it's awesome, man. I heard when I heard the first 10 seconds of it, I was hooked. I was like, okay, now I gotta listen to more. Yeah. And I know our viewers out there, they're gonna do the same because they trust our judgment and everything. So it's all good. Hey Billy, hang on for a second after we go off. It's just been awesome having you on, man. It's been fun
for sure.
Well, thank you for having me. That's when you listen to Leprechaun, that's sort of how I do things with this band. It's like if I can write about everyone's favorite thing, it opens the door. So it's like if you like Leprechaun, you're gonna listen to Leprechaun. You say, okay, what else these guys got? Because I like Leprechaun. So then you keep going. But yeah, if any of your listeners reside in Northeast Pennsylvania, Northern New Jersey, we are going to be playing on August 15th next week at the V Spot in Scranton. We're going to be playing September 12th at the Electric City Music Conference in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And we're going to be playing on October 25th at the Harrisburg Midtown Arts Center in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, that's badass.
yeah, that's freaking cool as hell. Well, go ahead and hit the landing gear, Henry, and then I'll hit the stop button and we'll wrap it up.
All right, you guys. So we will see you in the next video.